What's going on, my peoples? 𝐶𝐿 Supreme in the building, back with another video from Okay Beatz. And in this video, we are going to be mixing a vocal session that I just recorded in the last video. We're gonna get right into it. Hopefully, y'all pick up some gems. Here we go. And as you can see, we have the session sitting there waiting for us. Now, I'm gonna treat this session as if it were sent to me by a client. The recording is very basic. You don't have any plugins on mixer tracks. I'm gonna go ahead and disable this limiter over here and go ahead and just take it out completely because I don't want to use that limiter for this session. The client, which is myself in this case, but I'm gonna refer to it as the client so you guys, you producers or engineers, can understand my workflow now as a mix engineer. So right now we have this whole session. I'm gonna open up this mixer window. And in this mixer window, I'm going to go ahead and just organize a little bit. So first things first, I know that I want to have a reverb track and a delay track. So the first thing I'm going to do is name this track verb and this track delay. And then on the next track over, move that over, I want some saturation. And then I know that I need a group bus for my effects and for all vocals. So the all vocals, I'm going to place it right next to my regular vocals. So I'm going to take all my 3 vocal tracks and I'm going to highlight them. Right click on this arrow at the bottom of the all vocals track and say route to this track only. So now all of these 3 tracks are routed to main vocal track. And then all of these effects tracks, I'm going to change the color green as I did with the vocals. I turn them blue. And I'm going to take these effects tracks and route them all to my effects bus, respectfully so. So now that that's done, I want to balance all the levels and make sure that we have a balanced basic mix without adding any effects or plugins. So let's hear what that sound like right quick. Time we actually recording. Up. Yeah, yes.
Okay
Supreme, yeah. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, más tú era mi trophy. Tu gallito trigueño en tu vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, más tú era mi trophy. Tu gallito trigueño en tu vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el ovni, tú eras mi objeto. Y cuando me di cuenta ya era tarde, babe, lo siento. Si yo era el sol, tú eras la nube y ahora soy la luna sin estrellas, quedé estúpido. Tú siempre me decías que huelía rico, baby, y te reías funny, pero ya no estamos Gucci. Alright, so I like the way that sounds, that basic mix. Remember, for basic mix, we just need to balance levels and stereo field. So I just spread out the stereo field here for the hook and the background vocals a little bit. And I lowered the background vocals slightly. And I feel like everything kind of just sounds right for the moment. So we're going to go ahead and move on real quick to the reverb effects. The reverb choice is usually going to be the Fruity Reverb 2. You know, it's an excellent reverb, so I just stick with it. Usually it's very easy to use. I put up that wet knob all the way, bring this low cut up a little bit, bring this bass down, increase the decay, increase the dampness slightly, and also increase the size of the reverb room. So let's see what that sounds like when we hook up the hook to it and just pull back on it slightly. Como tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto
pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, más tú era mi trophy. Tu gallito triqueño en tu vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el ovni, tú eras mi objeto. Y cuando me di cuenta ya era tarde, babe, lo siento. Si yo era el...
Alright, so I just basically hooked up the lead vocals, the hook vocals, the background vocals to the reverb. And I adjusted the level or the amount of reverb that I wanted on each one of those vocals. So for the delay, I'm going to choose the H delay stereo, which is usually my go-to delay from Waves. I like to put this right here on 1/4. Just make sure it says 1/4, not like 1/4 T or anything like that. And I also put this on ping pong, and I bring the feedback up to about 73, high pass to about right up the middle, which is like 600 hertz, 700 hertz. And then I take this little link knob right here, and then I pull backwards on it so that we get a balance of where we want, you know, the frequency spectrum to be affected with the delay. Everything else seems good. Now let's do the same thing that we did with the verb and just test it real quick with the hook and background vocals.
Como tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, más tú era cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar.
Sounds about great. Go into the saturation real quick. Usually the saturation plugin that I use is the Devil Lock Deluxe by Soundtoys. It's just a go-to, guys. Once you realize what your favorite saturation is and the easiest to use, you'll just know exactly which ones to go to. So let's do the same thing here and kind of test how we want it to sound. I usually like to bring this darkness up to about 3, bring the crunch up to about 2, and bring the crush up to about 2 as well. So let's see what that sounds like. I'm going to add the hook to it first.
Como tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar.
Sounds good. And let's do the background vocals.
Como tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar.
Sounds good. Now we'll go to the lead vocal.
Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, más tú era mi trophy. Tu gallito triqueño en tu vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el ovni, tú eras mi objeto. Y cuando me di cuenta ya era tarde, babe, lo siento. Si yo era el sol, tú eras la nube y ahora soy la luna sin estrellas, quedé estúpido. Tú siempre me decías que huelía rico, baby, y te reías funny, pero ya no estamos Gucci. Aquí pon swipen y solo sale en tu video. Me paralizo cuando veo que tú besas a alguien nuevo. Aunque es over, yo no creo. That she over me, yo pienso. Tranquilo por el momento. Yo no te puedo olvidar.
Alright, so far that sounds good. I like the way that it's coming out. As you can see, I do want to point out the fact that we hardly have any plugins in. We don't have any plugins in the master bus. We don't have any plugin in none of the vocals. The only plugins that we have so far in this entire session are just the effects plugins, which is the reverb, the delay, and the saturation, which is all in their own respective tracks so far. And then we have the vocal tracks being routed into the sends, which are the effects. You know, so far everything is sounding good. And the trick to this is record good vocals from the very beginning. If you have good vocals from the very beginning, your mixing process and workflow is going to be so much easier. With that said, let's get back into it. The first thing that I like to do on vocals, which we're going to start with the hook here because that's the very first vocal that we hear. Actually, the first vocals that we hear is the background vocals in the intro. So I'm going to go to the background vocals. And the first thing I like to do with background vocals, I like to add an EQ. And in this EQ, I like to filter out the low end and the high end. Because in the background vocals, I want it to sound kind of like a telephone voice. So cut the high end and the low end, and then I'll boost the mids a little bit, about 2 kilohertz. Let's see what that sounds like.
Yeah, yes.
Perfect. You see, I hardly have to do anything, and it's already sounding luscious, and it's sounding in the right place and everything like that. So the next thing that I'll do with that background vocals, I'll add a compressor to it. The compressor that I usually go to is the CLA2A by Waves. I add a significant amount of compression there, and then just listen to it.
Yeah, yes. 𝐿𝐭𝐭𝐲, Supreme, yeah. Yo no te. Yeah, yes.
Another thing I like to do, because I do hear some noise in there, is I do put a gate on it. So I go to the C1 gate by Waves, and this is going to cut those vocals wherever it stops. So basically you won't hear anything. If I left anything in there after I clean the vocals manually, which is what I usually do, is clean them manually, just like this. If you still hear something left in there, it's very tedious, but it's worth it to go in there, cut the sample up, cut the audio clip up, and then just go in there and manually clean it up just as such. This way you make sure you get rid of any extraneous sounds that don't belong in the recording. So let's hear that now.
Yeah, yes. 𝐿𝐭𝐭𝐲, Supreme, yeah. Yo no te puedo olvidar.
And obviously it's a good idea to do that with every vocal that you have. You know, like I said, it's just kind of a tedious job, but it's worth it in this case. You know, for time's sake, I'm just gonna go ahead and continue. So moving on to the hook vocals now. Same thing, I start with a parametric EQ2 by FL Studio. It's an excellent EQ. There's plenty others that get the job done, like the Fab Filter Pro Q4. That's my absolute hands down favorite EQ that there is. You have absolute control over every single frequency in your spectrum. The parametric EQ2 by Fruity Loops does very well. You can see where the frequencies are activated the most, and you can cut and boost as needed, and you can manipulate the bands pretty freely. So I don't have no type of problems with it. It takes up way less processing than any other plugin because it's native. So that's another trick, is use native plugins. If they're good plugins, use native plugins to save some DSP and processing power. So here we go. Let's see what this sounds like, and cut these lows on the hook is what I usually do first. So let's see what this sounds like.
Yeah. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me.
So usually I go in with the EQ. I take one of the bands of the EQ and I kind of sweep through the frequencies just to listen to see what the vocals sound like with or without certain frequencies. So I was cutting the frequencies here on the hook vocals, and I realized that about 800 to 900 hertz, there's frequencies that kind of clash with the entire vibe. So I went ahead and I cut there a little bit, and we have a pretty good result after that. So the next thing that I'll do, I'll go ahead and put the CLA2A mono this time, since we're dealing with the lead vocal. Actually, we're dealing with the hook, sorry. So we'll go into CLA2A stereo for the hook, and I'll do the same thing. I'll bring the peak reduction up to about 60 and hear what that sounds like.
Yeah. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar.
Alright, so far so good. Now what I do realize that I have to do, it's quite inevitable. I have to clean up these vocals because I do realize that I did record some background noise, and that is coming up very clearly on the entire vocal. So we're going to do our best to clean it up as much as we can first, and then I'm going to still go ahead and put a gate on it so that whenever the vocal stops, there's a total pause. Bear with me as I get this tedious job done real quick. As I said, it's very tedious, but it's well worth it. The result always turns out for the best. Alright, so far so good. Let me see, I think I'm gonna do the same thing for the main vocals as well. Might as well just go ahead and do it. Just get it out the way. Cause sign tells me it's gonna bite me in the butt later on. Bear with me. This is also going to make it clear where we can do like little effects like stutters and stuff like that. So it always pays off. So far looking so good. So far so good. I'm gonna save this and name it Olvidar. Okay, so back to it, guys. I gotta put a gate on this hook. C1 gate stereo, and I'll bring this threshold to about -40 dB. And let's see what that sounds like.
Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie.
Sounds good. Let's go to the main vocals now.
Nuestra historia bella.
First thing I'm gonna do is add this parametric EQ2. Cut some lows on here to about 90 hertz. That's good. And let's listen and sweep some of the unwanted frequencies. There we go.
Nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, mato era mi trophy. Tu gallito trigueño en tu vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el OMI, tú eras mi objeto. Y cuando me di cuenta ya era tarde, babe, lo siento.
Okay, so now I'll put CLA2A mono. Bring this to about 60.
Nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, mato era mi trophy. Tu gallito trigueño en tu vientre más que el coti.
I like it. Let's go ahead and put that gate, C1 gate mono on there. Bring that threshold to about -40 as well. I know that's gonna work. And then now that I know that all my vocals sound good, now I want to go ahead and add some auto-tune. I'm gonna add the auto-tune to the lead vocal first so I can see exactly what my key needs to be and all of that stuff. So let's put this on low male, bring this retune speed all the way up, bring the variation all the way down, and then we're going to choose the key right now as soon as I listen to see what sounds best. So let's hear it.
Nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, mato era mi trophy. Tu gallito trigueño en tu vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el OMI, tú eras mi objeto. Y cuando me di cuenta ya era tarde, babe, lo siento. Si yo era el sol, tú eras la nube y ahora soy la luna sin estrellas, quedé estúpido. Tú siempre me decías que huelía rico, baby, y te reías funny, pero ya no estamos Gucci. Aquí.
I like that. Okay, C chromatic sounds good. Let me see this breakdown as it sounds good with that.
Ya no estamos Gucci. Aquí pon swipen y solo sale en tu video. Me paralizo cuando veo que tú besas a alguien nuevo. Aunque es over, yo no creo. That she over me, yo pienso. Tranquilo por el momento. Yo no te puedo olvidar.
Okay, good. So now let's go to the hook. A little bit of auto-tune. Same thing, put it on low male. Bring this retune speed all the way up. Bring this variation all the way down. And we're going to leave it in C chromatic. So let's go ahead and hear that now.
Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tus.
So I went ahead and raised the rate a little bit on the hook, just because I feel like it sounds a little bit smoother. I'm gonna go ahead and raise the natural vibrato to about 1. Let's see what that sounds like.
Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar.
Okay, let's go ahead and put some auto-tune on the background vocals as well. We'll leave that on soprano or alto. Actually, we'll make this alto tenor. Bring that retune speed all the way up. Bring that variation all the way down. And I don't know, we might change this to a C minor just to see what it sounds like.
Yo no te puedo olvidar.
Nope.
Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar.
Alright, so I'm satisfied with what the auto-tune is sounding like so far. Everything else is sounding pretty good too. So right now, one of the few things that I have left to do is over here on the actual group. I like to put this SSL G3 multi-bus compressor. This is gonna go on your 𝐷 vocal group. And basically, it's like a multi-band compressor, and you're going to compress the lows, the mids, and the highs. The reason why I like to do this is because it kind of levels out the lows a little bit, and it makes it, more present. And then the same thing with the mids and the highs. Just makes everything more present and more steady. Bring that makeup up, threshold, bring that makeup. Let's see what that sounds like so far.
Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, mato era mi trophy. Tu gallito trigueño en tu vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el ovni, tú eras mi objeto. Y cuando me di cuenta ya era tarde, ve, lo siento. Si yo era el sol, tú eras la nube. Y ahora soy la luna sin estrellas, quedé estúpido. Tú siempre me decías que huelía rico, baby. Y te reías funny, pero ya no estamos Gucci. Aquí pon swipen y solo sale en tu video. Me paralizo cuando veo que tú besas a alguien nuevo. Aunque es over, yo no creo. That she over me, yo pienso. Tranquilo por el momento. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar.
So I like the way that sounds. After I put the multi-bus compressor on there, I like to put Puig Tech EQPA stereo and just boost the highs a little bit and attenuate the highs a little bit, boost the lows a little bit, and then attenuate the lows a little bit. I'll bring it to 100 in the low frequency, keep it in the 3 to 5 range in the high frequencies, increase this bandwidth somewhat, and increase this gain a little bit. Let's see what that sounds like.
Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes.
Just makes everything pop out a little bit. Last but not least, we're going to put the Renaissance compressor, the 𝐷 compressor stereo by Waves. And we're just going to bring this ratio to about 2. Bring the threshold down to about -10. -12 is fine. This attack, bring it up to about 68. And this release, bring it down to about 60, 59. That's about it. then this gain, bring it up to like 2 dB. Let's hear it.
Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar.
Alright, so you see how nice and loud that sounds? Now we can back off that vocal a little bit by bringing down this fader for the vocal group.
Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar. Nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo.
Good. Another thing that I like to do is I go into this effects group and I'll put in the parametric EQ2. As you can see, I use that parametric EQ2 a lot. And I roll off the lows and then just cut the highs slightly. Let's see what that sounds like.
Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar. Nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar.
We're just looking for balance, guys. We just want everything to sound nice and balanced. We don't want things to be too overpowering. So we're going to bring down these effects a little bit too. The last track we're going to put plugins on is going to be this master track, this master bus. So the very last thing I put on this master bus is going to be the limiter. Well, actually, we're not going to go with this limiter. We're going to go with the limiter of my choice, which is the TR5 Classic Clipper by 𝐷𝐷. And I usually just bring this gain up to about 2 dB. This output, you could put it anywhere from negative 0.4 dB to about 0.3 dB, and bring the slope a little bit up to about 5.5, negative 5.5, make it edgy. And let's see what that sounds like.
Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar. Nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar. Nuestra historia bella y por qué tuvo que parar. Yo viendo tu selfie, más tú era mi trophy. Tu gallito trigueño en tu vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el ovni, tú eras mi objeto. Y cuando me di cuenta ya era tarde, ve, lo siento. Si yo era el sol, tú eras la nube y ahora soy la luna sin estrellas, quedé estúpido. Tú siempre me decías que huelía rico, baby, y te reías funny, pero ya no estamos Gucci. Aquí pon swipen y solo sale en tu video. Me paralizo cuando veo que tú besas a alguien nuevo. Aunque es over, yo no creo. That she over me, yo pienso. Tranquilo por el momento. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que terminar.
Alright, that sounded really good. Another thing that I like to do over here in this master bus is put, you guessed it, a parametric EQ. Go through these presets here and go to where it says 20 plus 18 kilohertz, 20 hertz plus 18 kilohertz. And this is basically going to filter out anything below like 27 hertz and anything above like 18 kilohertz. So basically we just want to hear everything that's happening inside of these two limits.
Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las redes me pongo a pensar cómo tuvo que
That's going to tighten up your mix and help it sound better throughout all of the sources that you listen to it. There might be other little things that we could do to this, you know, which is basically determined by style, and there's so many stylistic approaches when it comes to editing and mixing and mastering and stuff. But one of the things that I like to do is create like stutter effects and like pauses and stuff like that right before like a big moment in the song. Like up here, for instance, right before the hook comes back in, I'll go ahead and I'll pull back on this beat so that you don't hear anything right before the hook comes in. Check this out.
Tranquilo por el momento. Yo no te puedo olvidar. Viendo tu foto en las. Tranquilo por el momento. Yo no te puedo olvidar.
So basically that's going to help it you know, it's gonna help it have more dynamics, more parts of the song where you can like relate to and create memorable moments and stuff like that. So over here, I feel like we could create a little tiny stutter right over here where we created a little space right here. So the stutter is gonna come out like a little natural. So we'll copy and paste this, bring it down, give it its own space, and copy and paste it again right next to itself. So that way it comes in repetitively. I'll go ahead and make this unique and make this one unique as well. And then we'll take it and send it into the background vocals and then pan it all the way to the right. And then this one, the same thing, double click on it, send it to background vocals, and then pan it all the way to the left. And let's see what that sounds like real quick.
Yo era el sol, tú eras la nube y ahora soy la luz.
So that sounds good. I'll bring down the volume a little bit on each one of them so it could kind of gradually come in.
Yo era el sol, tú eras la nube y ahora soy la luna. Sin estrellas quedé estúpido. Tú siempre me decías que huelía rico, baby. Y te reías funny, pero vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el 𝐿, tú eras mi 𝐿.
Same thing here.
Vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el vientre más que el coti. Pa' ti yo era el 𝐿, tú.
Okay. So I'll go ahead and do what I did over there, make it unique, make that unique, send it to the background vocals and pan it, send it to the background vocals and pan it.
Vientre más que el coti, pa' ti yo era el 𝐿.
Okay, see, I'll bring down the volume a little bit.
Vientre más que el coti, pa' ti yo era el 𝐿, tú eras mi objeto. Y cuando me di cuenta ya era tarde, baby, lo siento. Si yo era el sol, tú eras la nube y ahora soy la luna. Sin estrellas quedé estúpido. Tú siempre me decías que huelía rico, baby. Y te reías funny, pero ya no estamos Gucci. Aquí pon swipen y solo sale en tu video. Me paralizo cuando veo.
We do that same stutter stuff right about here. And as you can see, like by cleaning up this session, what we essentially did was we easily identified where we have space for said effects. Make unique, send to background vocals, pan it, send to background vocals, pan it.
Vientre más que el coti. Aquí pon swipen y solo sale en tu video. Me paralizo.
Alright, so that's sounding really good. We'll bring down the volume on this one a little bit. And this one a little bit.
Aquí pon swipen y solo sale en tu video. Me paralizo cuando veo que tú besas a alguien nuevo. Aunque es over, yo no creo. That shit over me, yo pienso. Tranquilo por el momento. Yo no te puedo olvidar.
You see, so what we're doing is we're creating memorable moments within the track. So, you know, these are all moments where we're like, oh, I remember that little stutter effect, or I remember when I was singing along, you know, this is the part where I could sing along the best to because the beat leaves, you know, whatever the listener might be thinking at the moment. As the producer, you have to help the listener like the song. You have to help the listener understand where the dope moments of the song are and what the emotions are of the song. So yeah, these are all, you know, production decisions that are made during this part of the process of creating. So yeah, guys, I'm really happy with the results so far. I hope you guys got some gems as we went along. I really appreciate you guys for listening and allowing me to accompany you in your journey to success, whatever that may be. You know, for everybody, success is different. Whatever success is for you, I hope I help you reach it. If you need any beats, any audio mixing or mastering services, go to www.okaybeatz.com. That's okbeatz.com. And also, when you get a chance, look up Kevin King Supreme on all streaming platforms. We have a plethora of music, a large catalog from different artists from Okay Beatz. I really hope you guys set out to listen to that and enjoy some of those songs. Watch out for Coro Now, which is the new single by Kevin King Supreme on all streaming platforms. So yeah, y'all already know. Peace.